Hi to everybody at home. We're going to have a story time. So, Year 1B, do you want to say a big hello to everybody at home? It is our first day in school and we've had a really good morning, haven't we?
Yeah.
But we're missing everybody at home, so we thought we'd have a story time, didn't we, for them as well?
Yeah, this is the best book ever.
It is. So we're going to read Muncha. Okay. For years, Mr. McGreely dreamed of planting a garden. He dreamed of getting his hands dirty, of growing yummy vegetables, and of gobbling them all up. But he never tried it until this spring, said Mr. McGreely. This spring, by golly, I'm going to plant a garden. So he hoed and he sowed and he watched his garden grow. Lettuce, carrots, peas, tomatoes. Yum, yum, yummy, said Mr. McGreely. I'll soon fill my tummy with crisp, fresh veggies. But one night, when the sun went down and the moon came up, 3 hungry bunnies appeared. Tippy, 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 pat! Muncha, muncha, muncha! The next morning, when Mr. McGreely saw his gnawed sprout, he was angry. So he built a small wire fence all around his vegetable garden. There, he declared, no bunny can get in my garden now.
They can just hop over.
And the sun went down, the moon came up, and tippy, 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 pat! Spring hurdle, dash, dash, dash! Muncha, muncha, muncha!
They can easily hop over it.
The next morning, when Mr. McGreely saw his nibbled leaves and gnawed sprouts, he was really angry. So he built a tall wooden wall behind the small wire fence, all around his vegetable garden. He huffed. Those flop ears will never get over it. No bunny can get in my garden
They
now.
can just go under and go up.
Don't tell us what happens. And the sun went down, and the moon came up, and tippy, 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 pat! Dig, scrabble, scratch, scratch, scratch! Spring hurdle, dash, dash, dash! Muncha, muncha, muncha.
Yummy, yummy.
The next morning, when Mr. McGreely saw his chewed stems, his nibbled leaves, and his gnawed sprouts, he was really, really angry.
Can we just say furious?
So he made a deep, wet trench outside the tall wooden wall, behind the small wire fence, all around his vegetable garden. Ha! Those pufftails can't get under it. They can't get over it. No bunny can get in my garden now.
That's like going on there.
It is a bit like the bear, isn't it?
Go over it, they can't go
It
over
is.
it. They have to
And
go
the sun
through
went
it.
down and the moon came up and tippy, 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 pat! Dive, paddle, splash, splash, splash. Dig, scrabble, scratch, scratch, scratch. Spring hurdle, dash, dash, dash. Muncha, muncha, muncha. The next morning, when Mr. McGreely saw his chomped blossoms, his chewed stems, his nibbled leaves, and his gnawed sprouts, he was furious. So he hammered and blocked, sawed and stocked, drilled and filled, and trapped and locked. And he built a huge, enormous thing.
Why couldn't you
Before
just do
the-
booby traps?
Mina. Before the deep, wet trench, outside the tall wooden wall, behind the small wire fence, all around his vegetable garden. I've outsmarted those twitch whiskers for sure, he explained. They can't get through it, they can't get under it, and they can't get over it. No bunny, no way, no how can get into my vegetable garden now.
Guess what?
And the sun went down and the moon came up and tippy, 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 stop. The 3 hungry bunnies looked and smelled and touched the huge, enormous thing before them, and tippy, 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 pat, the bunnies hopped away. The next morning, when Mr. McGreely saw his untouched vegetables, he was happy.
Mr. King.
I beat the bunnies, he whooped, and did a jiggly-wiggly victory dance. Then he climbed over, jumped across, squeezed between, and crawled under until he reached his vegetable garden. Ah, sighed Mr. McGreely, at last! He smacked his lips. He picked and pulled up lettuce, carrots, peas, tomatoes, and when his basket was overflowing, he reached inside for something yummy. Muncha, Muncha, Muncha!
I told you.
You've got them. And there he is sharing his carrots with the bunnies. Should we say bye to everybody at home?
Bye.